My name is Xiomara Mayo Ingram, and like every week I'm here with Emotional Cafe session, and this week I have my favorite session, which is quality of life. And you might ask why I like this topic so much, but it has to do with the fact that this is what Emotional Cafe is about. We promote that you conquer yourself, that you get to live the life you always wanted to live, that you get to have that balance in your life that we all deserve to have in order to be fully happy. So therefore, this is an important session for me because the way I see it, it's going to help me share with you what has helped me find my balance in life and finally enjoy the quality of life that I wanted for myself. And hopefully you'll be able to do the same for you. So first of all, I want to start off with what quality of life really means. And I'm not going to go into detailed definitions or things that you could probably go and look into yourself. But rather than that, just to summarize saying that when we talk about quality of life, we refer to that group of vital aspects that we all human beings have to combine together in order to show our well-being. So that's what quality of life is about. And you might be asking yourself, what are these vital aspects that Xiomara is talking about? Well, the way that people actually get to see the quality of life that we have as humans depends on our physiological needs, the way that we have our health and our physical security taken care of. Those are aspects that show that we physically are doing okay. The material part, which is that aspects involving our income and our salary and resources, and when we get a house, when we get a car, all that kind of things that help us feel accommodated, that make us feel comfortable about the life that we're having. There's also the social aspect, which has to do with the way that we interact with others, with our neighbors, with society, at work, with our co-workers. There's also the general development, which has to do with academically growth and productivity and contribution, and finally that emotional well-being, which has to do with our emotions and feelings. So these are the vital aspects, and it is important that we know this because usually some people, you might find some people that think that quality of life means that you have all the money that you want to buy whatever is it that you wish. And the truth is that I can tell you, no doubt in my heart, that there have been people that having all the resources and having all the money to buy all the things they want, they still don't have that quality of life that we're talking about. Same thing happens with other people, that they think if they go to college and they study this or they do that, or if they do a master's degree or a PhD, they're going to be fully happy. And let me tell you this, I've also seen them being able to get all those accomplishments in life and yet not having a well-balanced life, not feeling that they have quality of life. So that's why to me it is so important to be able to come to that sense, to realize that it's more than just one aspect, that it takes a little bit more of that. And some specialists, some psychologists, they talk about the humans are like a table. You see how we have a table with 4 legs, and each one of those legs is attached strongly to that top of the table. And therefore, when you come and you touch it, you know that it's strong enough so you can put a lot of stuff on that table. But what happens if one of those legs is wiggling? What happens if one of those legs come off? The table loses its balance, and therefore you cannot be able to put what you need on top of it. And they compare human beings, just like that table, that we have 4 main aspects that are our body, our minds, our emotions, and our soul, our spirit, that we need to keep them in place. We need to keep them strongly attached, so all of them provide the balance that the table needs, that our life needs. Particularly myself, I have come up with a list of areas of our lives that I think, and this is something that I came to realize, as I told you before, with my own life, and I have been helping people to understand that we are not just one aspect of our life. Some people, when we get that attachment to someone or to a relationship, we feel that this person is my life, this other person is my life, when it's only an area of your life, it's only an aspect in your life, it's not your whole life. And it's the same thing with money, it's the same thing with your work, it's the same thing with your academic growth. All these areas are part of who you are, and it is important that we know this in order to be able to nurture and work all these areas together, so as a whole we can feel that we get the quality of life that we want. So these are the areas. I'm going to share them with you. I call it the wheel of life. I'm not giving them to you in any specific order, so that doesn't mean that the first one that I said is the most important one, or that the last one that I mentioned is the least important. Not at all. It's just the way that I'm getting to say them, but they're all important because they're part of who we are. So this wheel of life, who we are, it's based on our career, our finances, fun and leisure, which is the part that we get to enjoy and go and play and just have those moments of fully feeling free and enjoying life. Family, physical health, which is taking care of our bodies and our health. Emotional health, which is our mind and our emotions and our feelings, and being able to identify them and name them and work with them and not let them overwhelm us. Spirituality, which for some people might be a religious aspect, but I like approaching it from a spiritual perspective, because to me it's global. It allows you to be able to identify whatever it is that your spirituality is based on without you feeling uncomfortable. So it's not about any specific religious, but just having that spiritual side of you nurture. The education or academic growth, being able to be learning new things, new knowledge, new skills, things that are going to be able to help us develop professionally or maybe personally. The social relationships, it has to do with our interactions with our friends, with people that are important in our lives, our co-workers, our supervisors, friends to our families, etc. And finally, relationship with our spouse or life partner. And I want to make sure that you understand that I'm putting the relationship with the spouse or the life partner separate from family for a reason. Sometimes people think that if we do things as a family, then we're taking care of the life partner or the spouse. When the truth is that you need time with your kids as a family, but you also need time with your spouse or life partner, and it should be separate. Although you do things together as a family, there's got to be also those moments for you to nurture your relationship with this person. So that's why I put it separate. And again, I want to make sure that you understand. I'm not saying these life areas in any specific order. They're all important, and that's what I want to address to you, that all of them you need to nurture, all of them you need to be aware of how important they are in order to get the balance in life that you need. Now, I'm going to talk to you about what my chaotic life used to look like. What, when you have a disorganized life, looks like. Because sometimes, maybe you're living in chaos, maybe you're living a disorganized life, and you don't even realize that you are. I'm not going to talk about you, I'm going to talk about me. And this is what I used to cope with when I was living in a disorganized life. When I was not getting that balance in life that I needed, that was going to help me feel better. And I can tell you, first of all, that the levels of anxiety, I could barely stand them. I used to bite my nails, I used to make my fingers bleed, I used to be totally unstable. All the time I was anxious and always thinking about more things that will cause more anxiety. I couldn't be in the now. I was always either years ahead or years behind. It was so awful that it was hard to be in my own skin. I felt chaos. I didn't feel that I have a sense of direction in my life. I didn't feel that I could connect with the purpose why I was doing things. I felt stressed, overwhelmed all the time. I was working hard, and yet I didn't feel that I was achieving anything. I felt stuck. I felt that regardless what I was doing, I was going nowhere. That's how I felt. I was not moving forward, and I had this guilt all the time about the time that I was taking for my kids. I felt that I was not being a good mother because I had to work and do, and I didn't have time for them. And I couldn't even enjoy hanging out with them because I was always thinking about the next thing that I needed to do. There was such a lack of discipline, and I was not being able to honor my commitments. I kept forgetting things, I kept running late, I was always behind in things, and I had this total disconnection, not only spiritually and disconnected from others, but especially disconnected from myself. It was hard for me to be with myself. And that's when I knew that I had to change, that something had to change, because I don't know about you, but to me that was not life. That was not quality of life at all. And it didn't matter how much money I made or the kind of things that I was doing. I had that sense of feeling frustrated all the time. So I ask you, how long are you going to be living in that kind of life? Because to me, it got to a point that I said, you know what, no more. I gotta do something. And I started thinking about the kind of life that I wanted, and I started making changes. In my case, one of the things that I did first was to connect with the spirituality, which helped me connect with myself and others. And then I was able to, bit by bit, start nurturing the other areas of my life. For some people, it have worked the other way around. They have been able to start organizing bit by bit the areas of their life, and therefore they have become connected with themselves and others and spirituality as well. It doesn't matter how you do it, but just starting putting actions together to nurture the different areas of your life, you're going to start seeing different results. And I want to share with you, as I share with you what the chaos in my life was, what the results were in my life. What is the balance of that quality of life? What is the result of a well-balanced life? And I can tell you that I gained stability, that I started to find different levels of peace that I never imagined that existed. I started finding my sense of direction, my sense of purpose in my life. I started feeling joyful, and I realized that joy was coming from inside. It was coming from within. It was not something that was being done out of me, but it was something that was coming from my heart. I started getting that sense of self-actualization, feeling that bit by bit I was being able to accomplish things. Other people around me started being happier about their life with me. My kids started feeling that we have some time to share, that they were enjoying my company, and that I was enjoying their presence in my life. And I started practicing self-discipline, and with self-discipline I found my commitments being honored. I started to make changes about arriving on time to places, about being there, about keeping a calendar, about having an agenda, little things that help me organize myself. And I can tell you that as I was doing all this, I felt more and more connected with myself and others. So again, to me, I started doing bit by bit, connecting with the spiritual part that helped me find my inner levels of peace. And I have some simple recommendations that I want you to consider. And it's the equation of more, less, start and stop. You can always do more of some things. You can always do less of some things. You can always start doing some things that you haven't done at all, and you always can stop doing things at all. And what I mean is that you can do more of those things that help you, that nurture you, that make you feel better, that give you joy, that have a great value for you. You could always do less of certain things that you know that are not that good for you. Maybe it's hanging out with this person because this person is very toxic or very negative. Maybe it's going to this specific place because every time that you go you feel upset. What is it? But you need to identify it yourself. but you could always do less of certain things. You can start doing things that you haven't done at all, maybe gaining new skills, maybe something that you wanted to learn, maybe something that you've been wanting to do. Ask yourself why you haven't done it and go ahead, give it a try. And you can stop doing certain things altogether. Maybe those things that you know that you've been there, you've been doing that, and when you look back, you realize, you know what, that's not for me. Just quit. Period. No explanations needed, because you realize that it's not good for you. My dear friends, July has been the month that we've been talking about challenges, and I want to end up this session with a challenge for you, something to think about. What are we willing to do in order to get the quality of life we wish, we deserve, and we need? And I ask you, when are you going to start? When are you going to go for it? My dear friends, I hope you join me next week with another session of Emotional Cafe. I bet by now you can see why I like this session so much. This is what Emotional Cafe is about. It's about promoting that you can have the life you wish, you can have the life you deserve, and you can have the life that you so truly need and want. But it takes some actions that we need to put together, and that's my challenge for you at the end of this month. I hope you go for it. I know I did, and I can tell you I don't regret it for a bit. And every day I continue going after maintaining and keeping that quality of life that I have found and that I wish you find yourself. See you next week.